Welcome back to Transition Place, and this is the July 2024 edition of This Love Thing. I know you see this empty seat beside me. Lady Tisha will be joining us in just a few minutes. She's tied up at the moment, but just give us a few minutes. She'll be with us. We're excited about today's episode. We're going to be talking about a very hot topic: monitoring the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health of those who we're in relationship with is a big thing. The Bible tells us that we ought to be our brother's keeper. We also have a commandment by Jesus to love one another. And that love is expressed in many different ways. And of course, Transition Place's third quarter teaching on our Friday nights is going to be about love and obedience. Staying connected to the vine through love and obedience. So this month's offering of this love thing is right in line with everything that we're doing. And this is, of course, this love thing is the ministry of intimate relationships. And we're mainly talking to couples and prospective couples, but it has come to our attention that there are many singles who can learn from what we're teaching here. And let me tell you, there's a lot tonight and what we have to offer for not only those who are in relationships, romantic relationships, but I'm talking about for people who may not be. Because when it comes to monitoring the health of somebody else, their mental health, their emotional health, their spiritual health, their physical health, hey, that's for single people too. We have single friends, single siblings, single parents, single adult children, and we are part of their circle of influence. We're part of their circle of care, right? And so we do have a responsibility to each other to check in every now and then to see how people are doing. And please don't think just because someone is normally very strong that they don't need for you to check in on them, because they do. So for those of you who are already in our live audience, thank God for you. I'm asking that you share the video, begin to tag your family and friends. Let them know that Transition Place is on with the July 2024 edition of This Love Thing. Before we get started, I want to give you some information. As you can see, Lady Tisha is already working in the background, and we thank God for her. For those of you who are following us, we just want to put this up so you can know how to get in contact with Transition Place. I know some of you are brand new to following us. So we broadcast all of our broadcasts on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And right there on your screen, you see where you can follow us on those particular destinations: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Right below that, if you want to be a financial contributor to this ministry, there are 4 ways you can do it: by PayPal, Cash App, Givelify, and Zelle. We thank God for all of your prayers and all of your thoughts and cares. We also thank God for those who are touched to give in the tangible way by monetary donations. Thank God for you. On the right side of your screen, this is our broadcast schedule. Every morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Transition Place is partnering with the Morning Hour of Prayer. We come together to pray first thing in the morning to get our day started with prayer. Whether you are already a strong prayer warrior or you're new to this and you're trying to learn how to pray, maybe you're just trying to develop your prayer ministry, your personal prayer ministry, to be more full. Wherever you are in your journey with the Lord, you can't miss with the Morning Hour of Prayer. We invite you to come on with us. If you don't have Facebook, you can join the Morning Hour of Prayer on their own YouTube channel, their own Twitter channel, and their own Facebook page. Every Sunday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, we are preaching the word. Come on, somewhere between 45 minutes and an hour, sometimes a little less, sometimes a little more. Most of the time, right within 45 minutes to an hour, we're going to preach the word of God. And there's my sister, the Reverend Connie Robinson, who is no stranger to Transition Place. Lord knows she's been a teacher and a preacher and a dear sister. We thank God for you, Reverend Robinson. On first Mondays, every month, the first Monday of the month at 8 p.m., just like tonight, This Love Thing, Lady Tisha and I are coming on, and we're dealing with this ministry of intimate relationships. Sometimes we bring guests with us. Oftentimes it's just Lady Tisha and I. And like I say, we don't claim to be clinicians. We're saved, sanctified, and Holy Ghost filled. And we've been around for a long time. We have much to share with you. And plus, we depend on our audience to join in with us. Third Tuesdays, Preaching at the Place. That's a preaching series developed by Transition Place, where good, sound, effective preaching is our offering. And every Friday at 8 p.m., Transition Story. This is the biblical teaching arm of Transition Place. And so this Friday will be the first Friday in the third quarter. And we are starting with a brand new series, Love and Obedience. Staying connected to the vine through love and obedience. So we're excited about everything that the Lord is doing in Transition Place. And we want you to come and join us as we celebrate the Lord in every kind of way that we can. So once again, thank God for all of you who are already with us. Lady Tisha is going to join me in the empty chair beside me in just a little bit. But until she gets here, we're going to hold court. Now, remember, this love thing works better when you get involved. We want your comments. We want your questions. We want you to be interactive. We're here for you. Lady Tisha and I use our experience in life and our journey with the Lord and our wisdom that has come by all that experience to help you and what you're dealing with. And tonight we got a heavy subject: monitoring the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health in our relationships. Let me say this. It doesn't matter how long you have been together with your husband, with your wife. Doesn't matter how old your children are. Doesn't matter about the age or the socioeconomic status of that sibling, that uncle, that parent. All of us need to be checked on. All of us. All of us need somebody to call every now and then and just ask, are you doing all right? All of us need someone who will be really paying close attention to what's going on with us mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It is good for us to stay balanced. It is good for us to stay stable, grounded, and rooted in truth and in balance. We're not going to be very effective all by ourselves. It's just not going to happen. And so part of what we want to do tonight is kind of flesh through that. What does it look like when you're in relationship with people? Whether it's a romantic relationship or whether you're looking out for your adult children, your adolescent children, maybe your siblings, whether they're single or married. I'm talking about the people in your circle of influence, the people who are part of your care team, right? The people who you deal with on a steady basis, those that you look in your phone and look over the last 5 or 6 days. Who have you texted? Who have you called? Who's called you? Who's texted you? Who's checking on you? We have to be very mindful, especially with our spouses. We need to be paying attention. I was just talking to one of my daughters a couple of hours ago, and one thing I was telling her is, when you go to communicate with a person, it's not just about what you want to say, but it's also about what they need to say. So the communication has to be two-way. And when it comes to checking on another person's health, the observation has to be two-way. Now, I'm going to ask this question. You can choose the answer in the chat or not. But when's the last time you made a conscious decision when it comes to your spouse, especially, to do an evaluation of their mental health, their spiritual health, their physical health, their emotional health? Whether you're discussing it with them or not, but when's the last time you took inventory of what's really going on with your spouse? That single sibling that you have, maybe they've never been married, maybe they were divorced and just not going to marry again. You're still part of their circle of influence. You're still part of their care team. Have you checked? And there's the queen of the whole wide world.
Hello, y'all.
When is the last time you checked on them? Those people in the ministries in church where you serve, you may be on your church's security team. You may be on your church's pastoral care team. You may be in your church's choir. whatever it is. When's the last time you've made an observation to see where these people are? Don't just wait until there's a problem. Have you checked on them to see how are you doing? Do you ask the question and then listen? Or are we saying how you doing just because we're being polite? Today, my pastor checked on me. Pastor Timothy E. Wright Sr. down in Norfolk, Virginia. He was really wanting to know, am I taking care of myself? I have a tendency to go 1,000 miles an hour all the time, every day. I've been wound up all my life, even as a little kid, just wound up. And I'm learning, I'm in a different season in my life. I'm not old yet, but I'm getting there, right? And I can't do what I was doing in the previous years at the pace that I was doing it. I have to do things with more wisdom now, with more efficiency. I have more responsibility now that I've ever had in my life. I'm pulled on in more directions now than I ever have been in my entire life. And I have to have balance. Mm-hmm. You know who's the barometer to my balance?
Me.
Tisha. Tisha sees things with me before I see them. Mm-hmm. And many times I see things with her before she sees them. And we're constantly checking in on each other, whether we verbalize it or not. I'm watching. Mm-hmm. And she watching me. Lord knows she watching me. Right? But that's a good thing. It's a good thing to have this type of accountability. When's the last time that your spouse has had an annual physical? Have you checked? Do you know? When's the last time your spouse has had the 2 cleanings per year? For those of you who have dental insurance, most insurances, you get 2 cleanings per year, right? And there's so much that is allotted for dental maintenance, implants and caps and extractions and all that stuff, right?
Eyeglasses.
Yeah. When's the last time you went for your annual vision check? Are you still wearing glasses that you got in 2018? Like I was. I'm going to tell on myself. God bless you, Sister Lisa Middleton. And there's the young preacher, Elder Xavier Jones from down there in Norfolk. God bless you. And he's a young man. He's not married yet, but if he listens, he might learn something. The non-church translation, what's up? Yeah, I got it. Xavier, on first Mondays, we don't teach in the King James. We teach in the Uncle James. So you write it home with the what's up. So we're getting into it. Now, Elder Xavier Jones is single. Sister Elisa Middleton is single. I hope they don't feel like I'm telling their business. When I say single, I mean non-married. That doesn't mean they don't have a significant other. I'm talking about marital status, right? So who's checking on them? Who's checking to see, hey, are you doing okay? Spiritually, where are you spiritually? Are you reading your word like you should be doing? Are you praying? Are you constantly communicating in prayer, whatever your regular prayer schedule is? And if not, why? And if not, what are you going to do to get back on your schedule of prayer and study? Because in the life of the saint, prayer and study of the word has to be consistent. It has to be constant. It is a discipline that is needed for spiritual growth. If you're a Christian and you plan on doing what God wants you to do, being what God wants you to be, saying what God wants you to say, and doing what God wants you to do, then you have to be in constant communication through prayer and through biblical study. And sometimes you got to turn that plate over and you have to fast. My aunt would tell me, if you don't pray, you won't stay. If you won't fast, you won't last. She told me that when I first got saved. You won't pray, you won't stay. If you won't fast, you won't last. Let me tell you, she was not incorrect. That's right. And I love what Xavier said. He said, some mistake being well put together in the exterior fashion as synonymous translation to everything is okay when somebody is not. You hit a great point there, Elder Jones. You see, part of checking on the person, especially people who you have intimate knowledge of, everybody you don't know well enough to know when they say everything is okay. You know, how you doing? I'm all right. Some people you don't know well enough to know they're in trouble. The people that you know well enough to know, it's not all about what they say. It's also about what they don't say.
Mm-hmm.
I can usually tell when Tisha is a little off. The way she breathes, the way she inhale and exhale. I'm not sure if she knows I pays attention to that. Um, the way she's standing, I can tell if she's in pain. There's a certain look she gets when she's really kind of just like up to here, and talking is not a good option for her right now. She just needs some time alone. I pay attention. Now, those things can be temporary. It could just be temporary anger, could just be temporary frustration. But now, when you start seeing patterns of that, a person is constantly frustrated, constantly angry. That now we're teetering into something. Is this an emotional issue? Is this a mental issue? Is this a spiritual issue?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a physical issue? Pain can make you mean. Did you know that?
Oh, yes.
People who are in constant pain can be mean because pain alters your mood. Are you in tune enough with the people in your circle that you'll know these things?
Mm-hmm.
If you notice tonight, I'm asking a lot of questions because it's so important for us to check on each other. And don't just ask the question and don't want to get the answer. God bless you, Lady Tina. Tina Bean, God
Tina
bless
Marie.
you. Doc Fee, God bless you.
Yes.
We really have to check in on people and listen.
And you have to be genuine. You can't just ask for the purpose of just asking. You have to ask out of genuine care and concern. I had someone to, just to say this, not to cut across you. I had someone to call me today while at work. She said, I haven't heard from you. Typically, I respond to emails and I'll say, thank you for your email. Hope that you have a great day. She said, I haven't seen any of your typical emails. Is everything okay? And I was like, yeah, just returning back from, a much needed getaway. And she said, okay, I just wanted to make sure that you're okay because I haven't heard from you. Those, it might be typical for other people, but you're a person that is good to see a thank you for whatever. And, have a great day. She said that's not a everyday type of email that you get from everybody. She said, so I look forward to those, those type of responses. So,
yeah. And let me tell you something. Just because we're here presenting this to you, it doesn't mean that Lady Tisha and I have it all together, right?
mm-hmm.
If you notice, when I put out our notification, I'm always using the tagline, let's learn and grow together.
Amen.
We're learning and growing together. I'm realizing as I am yet maturing, as I'm yet growing, as my responsibility as a pastor is growing and growing, I'm not doing the best job at reaching out to those in my circle, right? We have to be honest with ourselves. If we want to learn and grow, if we want to get better, you have to be fair in your critique of yourself, and you have to be open when others are giving you a critique or maybe just some good advice. Everything we do is not right. Everything we do is not perfect. Everything we do is not right on time. All of us need a little help. All of us need to be guided back onto the right track when we slip a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I realize that two things. Number one, sometimes I don't do a good job of communicating when I'm in crisis. I realized that a couple of months ago I was in crisis, and before I knew it, I'm like looking at the teacher like I'm in trouble. You know what I mean? I'm in trouble. I'm overwhelmed, and I need help. It took a lot for me to say that. Pride is not pride. I don't know whether it's anxiousness or not wanting to let her down, but it was a learning thing. Go ahead, baby.
What I can say is, for those that don't know, this is their first time joining us. This is our second marriage. I would say some of it can be a scar from the previous marriage. We call them third-degree burns. If you've been in a previous marriage where you encountered some third-degree burns per se, you carry some of your baggage or luggage or those burns although unintentional, you carry some of those issues with you. And you have to have a partner to kind of remind you and say, baby, it's all right. So when he have those issues, I have to reassure him to say, I don't care what it is, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, I got your back. I'm here. We ride this thing till the wheels fall off, and we going to the donuts, and if we need to go and buy a spare somewhere, we gonna do that. Cause we in this, he stuck with me for forever ever. Forever ever. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real.
And let me tell you something. It feels so good to hear my wife say that. See, she don't just wait until she's on the air to say it to you. You have no idea of discussions that go on just between her and I. She has always reassured me that she has my back. I have always reassured her, I have your back. Whatever we got to go through, we got to go through together.
Mm-hmm.
And even though you don't mean to bring some of that baggage in, you're right, Elder Jones. Even though we don't mean to bring some of that baggage in, we do. You know why? Because we're imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've ever had a real bad cut, I see this cut on my hand. I was maybe 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old, when I got this cut on my hand. My hand was like somebody took a fillet knife and laid the heel of my hand open. My grandmother doctored it up. I never got stitches. My grandmother used her fourth grade education, and she come from the backwoods of Columbia, South Carolina. And she was born in 1924. During that time, being black and poor in the South, you don't hardly see a doctor. They learned things that were passed down. So she got her little stuff together that she had, and she packed it up. And doctors have told me since then that she did a heck of a job. What I'm saying is, I can still look at my hand and I see that scar. It doesn't hurt anymore. I'm rubbing my finger over it now. It doesn't hurt at all, but I see the scar.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we bring a baggage like that into our relationships with us, whether we mean to or not. We just do. But we have to be mature enough, number one, to realize the baggage that you bring. And God bless you, Vat Larry, Miss VT in El Paso, Texas.
Yes,
we appreciate you. You got to be mature enough to know what you're bringing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to let your spouse, your significant other, whether it be if it's a brother sister thing, a cousin thing, a mother father thing, right? Whatever type of relationship it is, you got to let the person that's helping you help you.
Mm-hmm.
Tisha and I brought what she just called third-degree burns from our previous situations into this, because those scars are part of us. We've had to apply salve to each other's scars,
Mm-hmm.
right? To the point where they're now beautiful scars. Some of her scars are what make her so well suited for me. Some of my scars are what make me so well suited for her. But we're constantly checking on each other and observing each other to make sure that we're healthy physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a check.
Right. And then you also, as a partner, you have to make sure that you're always in a state of being that you allow your significant other, partner, spouse to be vulnerable, and that you never take their vulnerability and take it and beat them over the head with it at a later time. You should never take their vulnerabilities that they expose to you, how good, how bad, whatever the case may be. You never take that and use it against them at a later time, because there is nothing worse than somebody exposing themselves, taking their heart. And this is one of the many things that I love about him, that I remember saying to him, because I came to the table saying to him, I'm giving you my heart, but a part of my heart is that I'm coming with 2 children.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm entrusting you to guard my heart, because I've had to be so many things that I'm entrusting you with my heart. That, you know, a mother's heart, a mother can be the meekest, mildest person, but she can turn into a beast behind her kids. But I'm entrusting you with my heart. So I'm expecting you to guard my heart the way that you would treat your mother's heart, the way that you treat your sister's heart, and the way that you're going to guard your heart, because you need your heart to beat. That's the way that I want you to treat my heart, and I'm going to treat your heart the same. That we're going to need each other to breathe, and be in sync with each other.
And you're going to have to create a safe environment for that to take place. Thank you for your agreement here, Kim. And Reverend Robinson, I appreciate what you said here. Scars are reminders of God's healing. I'm going to deal with that.
Amen.
We have to create a safe place in our relationships. Kimberly Case is my sister, right? But we don't discuss everything with each other.
Right.
There are some things that she's going to feel comfortable bringing to me. Some things I'm going to feel comfortable bringing to her. If I'm honest, there have been some things I've observed my sister go through, but my heart was so broken for her that I wasn't the person who could really check on her the way it was supposed to be, because my heart broken because her heart broken. I'm not saying that's right, but I'm just, we're here to learn and grow together, right? Right. Sometimes stuff can be a little too close, but that doesn't mean you don't care. What I can't do, I'm trying to make sure somebody else can. Maybe I can't deal with it. Somebody else can. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. But we have to create safe places. Tisha and I created a safe space with each other. And if we're going to deal with these different areas of health, physical, spiritual, emotional, mental, I'm not going to be able to do that if I don't feel safe. And can I tell you, all that you're dealing with, all that you are, it has something to do with every part of who you are and your level of health. If you are stressed out, let me tell you something, your blood pressure going to be through the roof.
Yep.
You're not resting well. You're probably not eating well. You're probably very irritable.
Your attention is all over the place. You can't think.
So there it is, that stress, which is an emotional thing, but it bleeds over to the physical. Mm-hmm. And if the spiritual is not up to par, you have not learned in the spiritual realm to lay certain things at the feet of Jesus and give it over to him. You don't take it to the altar, leave it there, then pick it back up and take it home with you. No, you leave it at the altar. That's a spiritual thing. But you're not going to have the spiritual growth if you don't stay connected to Christ through prayer, through a tremendous biblical study, through holy living. This is all together. But let's flesh it out. What does it look like to monitor the health of somebody who you're in relation with? Good to see you, Neek. What does it look like? Your comments and questions are very much welcome. Tisha and I are kind of giving you an inside look on what it looks like with us. Let me tell you something. I got a pair of glasses from the VA 2 years ago. Today was the first time that I really wore them because I've put them on before, but it's uncomfortable. Today was the day that I made the decision. I'm just going to put the glasses on and let my eyes adjust. But Tisha has been on me for 2 years. That's the physical part. She knows when it comes to new stuff, sometimes I'm a little slow, depending on what it is. Sometimes I'm a little slow. And so she's my help when it comes to that. If she's not able to make a doctor's appointment with me, Tisha is the kind, she want to read that, that the paper the doctor gives you, what they call it,
after action report,
the discharge summary.
Mm-hmm.
Tisha wants to read that. She's going to ask very specific questions. If she's in the doctor's visit with me, she's going to ask there. If not, she wants to know. There have been times like I said, girl, hold on, let me go look at this paper so I can tell you what they're saying. You know what she's doing? She's monitoring. Okay, then you have a change in medication. Did you pick that new prescription up yet? That's her monitoring my physical health. When I'm a little off, there's a medication that I take to help me. Everybody needs a little help, right? And so she had asked me a couple of times, have you taken your medication? And I was a little offended. I really was.
He was not happy with me, y'all.
I was a little offended, like, what are you trying to say? You know why? Because I couldn't see what she was seeing. So I started taking the medication.
And my baby was a lot better.
But then I said, it ain't this medication. I'm gonna tell you. So I didn't take it for a few days, and I didn't say anything. So we riding to work, and she looked at me. She said, "Sweetie, are you taking your medication?" You see, she's in tune enough to know something
is not right.
It's not right. This vacation that we just came off of, can I share with you how much that was needed? When I tell you we were overdue, we needed to unplug. We needed to not have to be concerned about our regular schedules, our normal responsibilities. We needed to unplug, and like Pastor Timothy Wright says, get a Sabbath rest. We needed to rest. We needed to unplug. We needed to rejuvenate. Mm-hmm. You understand? That's part of the mental and emotional side of it. And when you get that real rest, that feeds into the physical portion of it. Am I making sense? Mm-hmm. Now, how about the single people in your family? Now, when you marry, you have somebody who is kind of attached to the hip with you. Okay, but what about the people in your family that are not married? What about those adult children that you have? Tisha and I together have 4 adult children and 2 grandchildren. Our 2 daughters who are mothers are single mothers. So for anybody that's been a parent with another parent, you know how tough it is with 2 of y'all. And for those of you who are single parents, I'm not telling you anything new. That's a tough road.
It's a tough job.
What does it look like to monitor their emotional health, their spiritual, physical, and mental health? What does that look like? It's going to look different for each one of us because the people that we're dealing with are different. There's no cookie cutter approach. You have to, what works for Jazz don't work for Alicia. And what worked for Alicia don't work with Jazz. Some of our 2 daughters who are single mothers. Your approach to them have to be different. Your communication style with them have to be different because they're such different personalities.
And whatever the need is as well.
So the question I'm asking you, how are you dealing with checking in on your adult children? Do they allow you in? Because you have to be allowed in. I know you, mama, and I know you, daddy, but still you're dealing with grown folks. Grown folks have to let you in. Have you built a rapport with them where they allow you to check on them?
And you have to do it in a way that you're helping. You can't come in pointing that finger. I'm going to do. If you're going to help, come in with the approach that you're going to help.
Mm-hmm. I want to know what your questions are. If you guys have questions, I want you to put them in the chat. There is no such thing as a stupid question. I learned this in the Army. The only stupid question is the one that you don't ask. Okay? We're here to learn and grow together. Kim says, I'm struggling with that right now. You know, sister, if I'm honest with you, it has always been a struggle with me. I remember years ago, my brother Tim told me, he said, you're dealing with pride. And I disagreed with him. I still disagree. I've been through enough with other things in pride. I know what pride looks like. I'm not exactly sure what exactly it is, but I'm getting better. And part of the reason why I'm getting better is because I'm looking at the man in the mirror. And I'm saying that where I am when it comes to this particular thing is not good enough and it's not acceptable. For me, now I can't tell Kim or anybody else that's struggling with this, checking on yourself and checking with others and letting others in. We just talked about, you're dealing with adults, and an adult have to let you in. I don't let everybody in. Now, not letting everybody in is a good thing, but I'm talking about people who have proven that they have your back. And let me take a time out for station identification. People who have your back are imperfect. They're gonna make mistakes. They're gonna say things that's gonna hurt your feelings, do things that make you upset. That's the human element. I'm talking about even with those imperfections, they got your back. You have to ask yourself, why am I not letting them in? And if there's something that we're holding so tight, and we don't feel that we can let it go to the people that's in our circle, the next best thing to do, talk to somebody who is not in your circle, who has enough sense or credentials to help you. It may be a pastor. It may be a mentor. It may be a teacher. It may be a psychiatrist or a psychologist. It may be a licensed clinical social worker. Somebody with enough sense or enough credentials, or both of them. It's good to have enough credentials and enough sense that can help you to get you to the point where now you can share it with your inner circle. Listen, everybody got secrets. I ain't messing with nobody and their secrets. Your secrets are your secrets. But when your secrets hurt people, you got to let somebody in to help you. Do you know how many people are struggling with a mental health issue and have never been diagnosed and have never gotten the medication and or the treatment that they need? And they go through life imbalance with fragmented relationships because you're not whole. How do you check on a person like that? How do you help a person like that? So what I'm going to say to all of us, including me, who struggle in that area, it starts with the man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror. You have to admit that where I am is no longer acceptable. I'm going to have to let somebody in to help me because I have helped myself as far as I can do. And now I have to let somebody help me with my mental health, with my emotional health, with my spiritual health, with my physical health. We have to do that. So I hope that I help you with that part, Sister Kim. Now, Reverend Robinson says, I make myself available, open communication and trust. They don't tell me everything, but I know the good and the bad. And I believe she's talking about dealing with, adult children, especially with other adults. Right. Reverend, go ahead, baby.
I would say, one, make yourself available to be a trusted source to anyone. If someone knows that they can confide in you and you're not going to be judgmental, I would say, for example, for our adult children, I make myself readily available to the children to say, listen, I'm here to be basically an advisor for you. I'm not here to judge you. I will do the best that I can to guide you in the right direction, but I'm not here to guide you, not to judge you for whatever it is that you tell me, because I once was young and I have made some pretty foolish decisions. So I'm not here to basically say, oh my God, you've done that, or you've done this, because he and I can say, oh gosh, we've done some pretty silly things. So, I don't think anybody has done anything that's all that bad. And if we have done something that's all that bad, we got the good Lord to pray to ask him to forgive us for whatever sin that has been done and or committed or whatever, and go on from there. But at the end of the day, you're a parent and you're there to offer guidance. And once the adult children know that you're really not going to be judgmental, I think for the adult children, I think their main concern is to know that my mom or my dad really is not going to judge me. I might tell them some horrid things, but they really aren't going to judge me. Then their guard is let down.
You can correct without judging.
Right.
One thing our children know about us, don't come to us if you don't want to know the truth.
Definitely.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to tell your business. I'm going to tell you the truth, and it may be a hard truth. It may be a disgusting truth, but I will tell you the truth in love. I'm not going to judge you, but I'll correct and I'll guide, and I'll keep it between us. And I thank God for Reverend Robinson, because what you did here, you opened the door for conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I asked the question, what does it look like when we're monitoring? Well, one thing she does, she makes herself available and open when it comes to communication and trust.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there it is. Now, we're going to help our brother Xavier here. He has a question. And this question is not just for Lady Tisha and I, for all of you in the live audience, and those of you who are going to see this on the playback. You can help answer that question, because there's not one right answer. There's several right answers. He says, so here's my stupid question. He's laughing because it's really not a stupid question. When external obligations that you feel will benefit the partnership in the future, like job opportunities, possible offers, when they take a little bit of time away from what we are used to or how we used to be, what do you do to satisfy both obligations of work and relationships? I'm gonna start, and then I'm gonna turn it over to Lady Tisha. But what I want y'all to do is start hitting the comments with what you can do to offer some answers to this question that Xavier is asking.
Okay.
And I'm gonna leave the question up so people can see it. What I would say is, Xavier, you always have to have balance. One thing I learned is you have to take your significant other with you. Whether that's going to be your lady, who will eventually be your wife, whether that's be your siblings or your parents, your grandparents. Wow, the answers are coming. Sacrifice and balance. In other words, it's on you to be a good communicator. I have realized that as much as I talk, sometimes I'm not communicating everything that I'm seeing. That's my honest evaluation of myself. So when I see that Tisha is getting a little, she's not following me, getting a little frustrated. It could be me talking to one of the children, right? I don't automatically say, the problem is you. I look at me first. Am I doing a great job of communicating what is before me? So the first thing I would say to Xavier is make sure you're communicating everything that you see, everything that you feel. Never assume that they know what you see, that they know what you feel. If you think that this opportunity or this new thing is going to be beneficial to your future, and it is worth investing time into this thing and taking time away from the significant other, well, part of your job is to paint that picture so that there'll be understanding. And one thing that we have to learn how to do in relationships is, now there's sometimes time is money. Time is the commodity. I don't have time for you to process it. We got to go because I know this is right. I'm gonna have to go to make the move, and I pray that you catch up later. Sometimes, not all the time, sometimes that's the answer. Many times what we have to do is put it out there, paint the picture effectively, and then allow the other person to process and catch up. If I explain to you my idea tonight, and it's 8:43 on the eastern coast, but at 10 o'clock I want to answer, that might be too soon. Maybe tomorrow at 10 o'clock might be too soon. Let it sit for as long as it needs to sit with that person, a reasonable amount of time. Okay, a reasonable amount of time. Come back together and discuss it. You want to get buy-in, right? You want to get buy-in so that you can walk together. And even after you get buy-in, you have to check along the way to make sure we're still all right. Because spending a certain amount of time away may be acceptable to you, but don't automatically assume that it's acceptable to the person that you're in a relationship with. We have to constantly be checking. I have something to do tomorrow evening and Wednesday evening. On the way home from work, I say to Tisha, hey, Tisha, tomorrow and Wednesday, I need to be going at these times to do X, Y, and Z. Is that cool? Now, to be honest with you, Tisha said, no, baby, I need you for this and that. Well, Tisha's the priority. I would have made a phone call and said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. My wife needs me to do X, Y, and Z. I may not even given that explanation. I maybe just said, I need to be somewhere else. Now, that's my answer. I'm going to turn it over to Tisha and get your input.
Okay, so I would say you have to communicate um, to say, whatever, if there is an opportunity, say for example, if it's a job opportunity, you have to have all of the specifics. If the job is going to keep you away for a year, just saying hypothetically, what is the game plan? Are you going to be in this location? Is it going to be just hypothetically, I'm just putting this out here, for a year, and it's going to be a long distance relationship, and you're going to maintain the long distance relationship. Okay, what is the game plan as far as maintaining the relationship during that year time frame? Are you going to do monthly visits? Are you going to do quarterly visits? Are you going to do every 6 months? You would have to make a determination. I'm just saying, as far as what is the game plan? If it was going to be a year, or if it was something, I'm just saying hypothetically, if you were in the military and you're going to be gone for 3 years, if it was something along the lines of, hey, I'm looking at getting married, we're at this point in the relationship and we're leaning towards marriage. If you're in that part of your relationship, I'm just saying hypothetically, you have to look at all the things and have a discussion, and then you go from there. But you have to assess all things, and you would discuss it between you and the other person. And you have, as he indicated, make sure that you have the buy-in, and you discuss all things. I'm just saying hypothetically, if she said, I can't do long-term relationships, or I could do a year, but we would have to see each other every month. Okay, that's fine. Is it going to be you're coming here or I'm going there? What are the details of the relationship? Because it can't be one-sided. So you have to make sure, all of the specifics. Everything has to be communicated in a clear understanding, that type of thing. If it's, everything has to be out on the line, clear up front, that type of thing.
Let me say that, and somebody might be asking the question like, well, what does it have to do with mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health? Let me explain. Let's just say the person that you're dealing with deals with anxiety, right? If you ever dealt with somebody with social anxiety, they let very few people in, and you got to prove yourself a whole lot to get in. When you're in with them, you become much more to them than you realize. When you have not communicated effectively and then do what you say you're going to do, it drains them. It put them in a bad place mentally, right, and emotionally, right? Remember, me and teacher talked about, we come in with scars. You come into a relationship with who you are and what you are. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. We all can grow and change and improve and mature, mm-hmm, but you start at your starting point.
Right.
Effective communication helps with all of this: mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. Because you've created the safe place. Mm-hmm. When I have the safe place, I can start dealing with all those other issues. But if I'm always in survival mode, if I'm always in
waiting for the shoe to drop, right, because what your previous situation was, you can't see past this moment. But, and say for example, I'm just saying hypothetically, if you and a young lady have it set up where you're meeting monthly, but say for example, hypothetically, something came up, a paycheck or whatever, something where you had to get car repairs. If you communicate and say, listen, sweetheart, I have to have some major repairs in my car. You have always done what you said that you have done, and she know you to be this person. But there's enough time, and you've communicated. As long as you are communicating and say, sweetheart, I know I said this, but this has come up. I can't do it this time. I can't fly down, but can we do it this time? or can we do it this date? Because she knows the situation and circumstances, and you've communicated clearly that this is the issue. And if you have a person that has anxiety or something along those lines, you're communicating in a way that, you know, it puts them at ease. Somebody that may have been in a situation where they may have had somebody to cheat on them, they're saying, okay, this is somebody that has done what they said that they're going to do. It's no games being played. You've done what you said that you're going to do. You're dealing with me like I'm a human being. You're not playing these types of games. Okay, we'll reschedule for this date. Again, you know, there's other things, FaceTime, all of that. But you're reassuring me and you're doing what you say that you do. We also have this thing he and I have. What is it?
Get him through the moment.
Get
by
him
the
through
moment.
the moment. But what's the other thing? What is it that you say? The character. What is my character? If something.
So in other words, when something happens that's out of the ordinary, I'm always going to lend to Tisha the credibility and the benefit of her character with me. In other words, if somebody comes and say, I saw your wife kissing this man in a car. Well, that's not the reality of Tisha that I know. So I don't snap off and start tripping. I'm going to give her the benefit of her relationship with me, who I know her to be, until I come into credible information that I'm wrong. That also helps with this mental and emotional health, especially. Don't go believing everything people tell you. People do a whole lot of talking. And I told you before, one of my pet peeves is when people speak as one having authority when they know we're near an expert at what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. And they're talking as if they know. So that's one thing to keep in hand too. And what Kim is saying, or can you come to me instead? Compromising. Yes. Man, listen, all this stuff is tied in.
Right.
So I hope that we're answering the questions and dealing with the comments. Y'all keep it coming. So now, what does it look like when somebody is checking on you? Okay. Sometimes we talk about checking on the other person. When someone is calling, you know you're hurting. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, Reverend Connie, I'm calling to check in on it. How are you doing? And I'm a trusted source. What does it look like when you know someone is monitoring you, when someone is trying to check on you? How are you responding? Are you letting them in? Are you saying, you know what? I'm struggling. Last year, this time, my wife died. And, they're coming up on a 1-year anniversary. It's tough for me. And I'm really struggling. Are you letting them in? Because they're doing their part now. Mm-hmm. They're trying to check in with you to see if you're okay. Are you doing your part with letting them in? Because don't you know, when we go through the grieving process for different things, talking about it is very helpful. Tisha and I nursed each other back to good mental and emotional health by talking about our scars. Yep. Most people would tell, don't you dare talk to the new person about what the old person did. Look, you do what you do. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do what I do. Yeah. She was the one that I cried to. She was the one that I poured out to. And you know what she did? She took it and she gave me good advice. She poured out to me. She cried to me. I took it and I gave her good advice. Mm-hmm. And then we held hands and kept walking together. Nikki says, boy, I needed y'all advice years ago. Hey, Nikki, I needed my advice years ago.
Well, since we here now, and we here to help.
Right. And so Kim is answering the question honestly. She says, I'm saying I'm fine and crying later. And now this is not to critique you or criticize you, Kim. But what I would say to you and anybody else, because Kim ain't the only one. She's just the only one who's speaking up. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask myself, well, why am I doing that? I had this discussion with somebody close to me. And one thing this person said is, I just don't trust people. And then so I'm going to start investigating because I want to understand what the trust issue is. You know what I found out? that person had a very unrealistic understanding of what trust is. In other words, if I got to tell you something twice, that means you're not listening to me. No, it doesn't. If you might have told me the most complicated thing I heard all day. I might need you to tell me 5 times before I totally can comprehend and process it. Well, you said you was going to do this and you didn't do it. Okay, you're correct. But I've told you 100 things I was going to do. 99 of them I did. This one thing I didn't do. Are you even going to be concerned why? Maybe I was overwhelmed and couldn't do it. Maybe I did everything I could do to get it done and failed. Maybe I realized that I bit off more than I can chew. Am I making sense? Mm-hmm. So once we got to this person's unrealistic understanding of what trust is, now we can deal with something. And I was trying to help this person understand, look at all these different avenues that you have, all these different people that God has placed around you. You, your own problem. Now, I'm not saying that to this person to whip them. I'm saying it to awaken them, right? You're your own problem. You got to, at some point, let this go. If not, the cycle will continue. Aren't you tired of the cycle? Aren't you tired of failing again and again and again and again with the same thing? At some point, you got to let somebody help you. And you know what? Well, I'm such and such age. I don't want nobody in my business doing this and doing this. Listen. Sometimes you got to become the child all over again. I was just with my father this past weekend. I'm 52 years old. But in the presence of my father, you know who I am? His baby boy.
Yep, his son.
I don't know more than him. And when he talked, I listen. And sometimes I feel like I'm reaching up to my daddy because he always been taller than me, giving him my hand with my thumb in my mouth and let him walk me somewhere. That's humility. And sometimes my daddy ain't the nicest dude when he got something to say. He don't really care about your feelings. What he cares about is helping fix the problem. And if your feelings get hurt in the process, now, once again, I'm not saying he's right. I'm saying that's what it is. But if I'm the one that need the help, I'm not going to bite the hand that feed me. I can't tell the teacher how to teach. I can't tell the teacher when to teach. I got to buckle up, come prepared to learn, and take it. Okay? I appreciate what Tina is saying. She said, I'm working on myself. Tina, that's one of the realest things I heard all night. Because if we're all honest, and none of us really arrived yet, Paul said that he was pressing toward the mark. He had not yet attained. And Paul had all this formal teaching. He had a reputation. I mean, Paul was a bad man, but still he said, I have not yet attained. None of us have. We are a work in progress. So Kim, I think she's answering the question, what's stopping? She said, trust and not putting my problems on other people. Well, you put your problems on other people. And this is not just directed at Kim. We're not singling her out. We put our problems on other people when we put something on them that they didn't ask for. But when somebody come and say, listen, I'm trying to help you, let me help you. Now, if we don't let them help us, then it's on them. I had to get to a point where I wanted help more than I wanted to do it myself. Nobody can help us until we get to the point where we want the help more than we want it our way. You know what I mean? And I can take a little embarrassment if you can help me. Go back to my daddy. I can call him and ask him for anything. I'm going to get it. Now, he going to say some words. He going to say some words. And after he say everything he want to say, he'll say, man, baby, I love you. I love you. Then go ahead and this what you know. But you got to go through the gauntlet with him. You think I'm going to let them words stop me from getting what I need when I know I need it? I'm not going to let Tisha starve because I don't want my daddy to get mad at me. I'm going to call my daddy.
I know me personally, I had to go to therapy because if I didn't go to therapy, I'd be telling everybody in the house, meet me in the driveway, the parking lot at 3:00. And I know that wasn't going to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tanika, I'm so glad to see you with us. God bless you, sister. Good to see you with us. And well, Kim is pouring out tonight. Kim says, I have done this to myself, sis.
No, I was saying that here, sister,
okay.
But yeah, and that's basically what I was saying, because it sometimes it isn't easy, to be able to trust, because I know sometimes within the community, in the Black community, it was said, whatever happens in your house stays in your house. That has plagued us in our community for a long time. But I think we really need to get out of that habit, because we just need to, whatever issues that we have, we need to deal with those issues and flourish.
Let me say this. Sometimes we got to get out of self. Sometimes we're selfish and we don't see it. Let me explain what I mean. Sometimes me being in trouble don't just affect me. If I can't get it done, Tisha got to suffer too. So I got to get out of this mess with me and go get what I need, because if I don't, she got to suffer too. So she got to suffer because of my deficiency. One thing I really dislike in people is when they try to make you deal with their limitations.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you deal with my problem, and I'm going to be comfortable in my problem, and I'm not going to try to grow and get better, and you just got to deal with it. Nope.
Yeah, so that's basically saying, I just want to be stuck at 17, even though I'm in my 50s, and I have this expectation that I'm just going to be 17 all my life. In a nutshell.
That's unacceptable. Now, that's not me wagging my finger at anybody, but see, I've had to say this to myself. Let me speak to men for a minute. Men, we're naturally protectors and providers, and it's difficult for some of us to let the people who depend on us to see us cry. I had to learn that these people who I provide for and these people that I protect, and brothers, I'm hoping that you see this too, they're protecting and providing for you too.
Oh, yes.
You better open your eyes and see it. And they're not going to think less of us because we're human. If you're dealing with somebody who thinks less of you because you're human, that person really don't need to be in your circle.
Got that right.
You're dealing with a person who has not grown enough. In other words, if anybody going to see me cry, it's going to be Tisha. Because she's proven she's mature enough to handle it, and she ain't going to tell you. She ain't going to tell my secrets. And she going to talk about it to my face. She going to do that. But she ain't going to tell you. And so she's proven that when I need to cry, I can cry on her. Now, I don't always want to do that. And there have been times where I tried to handle it on my own because I didn't want to put it on her. Then I had to come back with my head bowed and say, baby, we're in trouble. And this is what it is, and this is what we got to do.
But what I had to do in that situation is say to him, baby, I'm here to be your helpmate. Everything, I understand that you are a man, and yes, I understand that you have broad shoulders. But why do you have to carry everything on your broad shoulders to prove that you are a man? I understand that you are 100% man. I am here to be your helpmate. It is certain things that you should not have to carry on your own when I am here to help you. You don't have to carry the burden for every single thing. I am here as your helpmate. Period.
So the question was, what does it look like when somebody's checking on you? When somebody's calling you? We did get a couple of answers. If there's somebody else who has something to say, please type it in the chat. What does it look like when you are the one that's getting the phone call? Hey, Tanika, I'm checking in on you. How are you doing, sister? You know what I'm saying? It may not be me. I haven't talked to Tanika in a while, so she might not tell me nothing. But for the person that's in constant contact with her, are you letting them in? Right? My friend VT, My friend VT, Valeria Thomas, she's on with us in the audience. She's in El Paso, Texas. Me and her could not talk for a couple of months, but I can tell her anything. And let's get it straight right now. She Tisha friend too. Okay.
Yes, my
okay.
sis.
Okay, don't even go there. But I can tell her anything. And she know when to pat me on the back, and she know also when to kick me a little bit. She said something to me a couple of years ago that was so straight and to the point, it helped me. She was like, hey, bro, you got to handle your business. Man, that thing hit me in the chest so hard. Oh, my God. Because it's something that needed to be said. I needed to hear it, but I didn't want to hear it. But you know what? She was right. I had poured out to her. She had heard everything. And the response was, hey, bro, you got to handle your business. You know what? It was a tough response, but it was the right thing. And it was a thing that I was able to grab onto and start pulling myself up. Now, she didn't leave me out there hanging because we was on the phone constantly, and she was helping me through it. Mm-hmm. My dear friend checked on me. I fessed up, and I got what I needed.
Right.
I got slapped a little bit, but that's really what I needed too.
But that's what a good sister will do for you.
Yeah. See, sometimes we don't want to take the slap. But sometimes the slap is what we need.
Yeah. And that's even a slap in love. You know, that's like with anything. We were having a conversation earlier today. You know, with any type of correction, it's natural as human beings that we always want to be right. And even recognizing that we're not right, we have to admit and confess that we're not right. But it's only the right thing to do to admit that we're not right. But you move forward and say, you know, I thought about what you said the other day, and you move forward. And that's it. But that's having an adult, mature conversation to say, thought about what you said. Now, did I really want to hear it? No. It's a plenty of time that he says stuff to me that I really don't want to hear. If y'all could see me looking out the window sometimes, I don't want to hear this. Now do I do my neck rolling and all that? Sometimes I roll my eyes while I'm looking out the window. But in all honesty, you know, but, you know, I have to be honest and say, you know, I thought about what you said. You were right.
That's
okay. Right. But you have to be honest, because for your relationship to progress, you got to be honest. And that's it. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Listen, we're going to begin to wrap up. We've already taken an hour and 10 minutes of your time. I want to reiterate today what we're really talking about is monitoring mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical health for those that we're in relationship with, right? So the people in your circle, please be concerned about, hey, when's the last time you had an annual physical? When's the last time you had your teeth cleaned? Have you taken care of your cavities and your caps? You need that bridge. Did you get it?
Eye exams.
Well, man, I'm $100 short. Maybe you can be the one that provide the $100 so they can get the dental taken care of. Listen, let your mouth go bad. There's a whole bunch of other stuff can go south too. If you don't believe me, do some reading. Okay. Are you checking to make sure that your friends and your family members and your spouses, are they getting the proper amount of sleep? Are you resting well? If you're not, let them talk about it. Let them talk about it. Listen. Stop what you're doing and listen. Today, I had to say to myself, I'm going to stop what I'm doing. I'm going to call this person. I'm going to have a conversation. In my mind, I'm saying I got about 30 minutes. But I'm saying also, maybe go past 30 because I'm accountable too. Mm-hmm. Let me call and check. Are you resting well? I got that check today. Thank God for Pastor Wright. He texted me today. I'm checking on you, son. You taking care of yourself? And I gave him a full report because he's somebody that I let in. When he's checking on me, I let him in. When I wasn't doing well, When I had just come out of the hospital, you know where he was? Sitting in my living room.
Yeah.
Got in his car from Virginia Beach and drove to Stafford and looked me in my face to make sure I was okay. So we got to do that. When we ask somebody, we're checking on them spiritually. Hey, listen, there's certain things we can see with the spiritual eye, the third eye. Hey, man, your walk is a little off there, bro. Man, you been in your word lately? Tell me what you're studying. What is that saying to you? What is the Lord speaking to you in your prayer? Are you keeping a prayer journal so that you can keep up? God bless you, Brother James Meredith. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. He said,
"Thank you for joining us."
That's right.
Yes.
You know, you know what?
Tina Marie.
When you ask them about their dental, he said, when you smell their breath, they ought to know they got a problem, right?
Oh, Jesus.
They get nose blind. But this is real deal. When somebody's checking on you, hey Tina, how are you doing? I know you're dealing with a lot, taking care of your dad and, you know, taking care of your son. I know your sister's not doing the best out there in Ohio. How are you doing? If that question is asked, are you going to take the time to give the answer because that person is trying to check on you? And I'm not talking about, you know, la-di-da and everybody, no, because you're not going to share certain things with la-di-da and everybody. I'm talking about somebody who's proven that they're on your side. Okay. When somebody is checking your emotional, I know you just dealt with the breakup of this relationship. How you doing? How are you doing? Now, don't give me no glazed over answer because I know you're hurting. Let's talk about it. Because it sounds very granddad of him with his. We have a role to play. Yes, we're gonna check on some folks. We gotta let some folks check on us. Amen. And we gotta be honest. And let me say this, especially in the Black community, for years we have been told that the others are the ones who go to the shrinks, the psychologists, and the licensed clinical social workers. No, just like if you had cancer, you're going to see an oncologist, and you're going to deal with that radiation, and you're going to deal with that chemotherapy while you pray. You have to look at your mental and emotional health the same way. Take care of yourself. Yes. If you're not at a point you can talk to the people in your circle, go talk to a professional. Talk to a pastor. Talk to an old, wise person in your community. Somebody who can help you to get it together. And will you please be humble? Allow yourself to be checked. We have 4 adult children. I humble myself when I talk to them because I'm not always 100% right. I allow them to correct me. My one standard is you will be respectful. I can put up with a lot of things. I will not put up with disrespect for my children because I sacrifice too much. So I don't deal with disrespect. But as long as you're respectful, you can tell me anything you want to tell me. And I'm going to listen because I'm not always right. That's allowing somebody to help us to maintain health and stability and balance and to live in the real world. I know some folks who live in a land far, far away. Okay? Every now and then, we got to have somebody who can help us to put our feet in reality. Okay? Listen, we're going to wrap it up for now. I do thank God for each and every one of you. I'm hoping and praying that what we offered tonight has been beneficial to you. Now, don't be selfish. If this was beneficial to you, think about what it would be for somebody who's struggling when it comes to this. If you know somebody who's struggling, do you know you can go to YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or IG and, you know, whatever social media they're on, and you can click on the link and you can send it to them. Tisha and I are not doing this for us to be, you know, whatever. Believe me, if I was chasing money, I would not be chasing ministry. Okay? We're doing some other things. We're doing this because we're called to do it. And I want to be a help to everybody who needs it. Thank you so much, Tanika. You don't know how much that mean to me coming from you. Y'all, Tanika keep it all the way real. That's another one. If you don't want to know the truth, don't mess with Tanika. She might tell you something to hurt your feelings. Okay? And if she's saying this is beautiful, then that's what it was to her. If it wasn't, she would have said something else. All right? She might not say it on here, but she sure would have let me know. She's going to tell it now. So we want to be a help to somebody who needs the help.
Right.
We don't know all the people that you know, but you do. Make sure you get this episode into the hands of somebody who can use it. All right? Whether they decide to link up with Transition Place or not, man, that's their business. But we want to help. When you go to help somebody, you never know the dividends that it pays years and years down the road. Something we said tonight might help the grandchild that's not even here yet because you got better. And now when your grandbaby get here, you got something better to offer. You see how this works? Mm-hmm. So each one teach one. The scripture tells us that, we got to love each other. They'll know who we are as Christians by the love that we show one to another. And we show love when we check on each other and when we allow ourselves to be checked on. All right? I love you. Tisha loves you.
I love you.
And Jesus loves you. Until next time, and we're going to be back on Friday night. Friday night, we're going to be doing lesson 1 in our third quarter series, Love and Obedience. We're staying connected to the vine, which is Jesus Christ, through love and obedience. We're going to flesh that out during this third quarter. We just came off of overcoming sins, right? We're going to build on that. And if you want to know what we're talking about, go to John chapter 15 in the Bible, verses 1 through 17. That's our 2024 theme, staying connected to the vine and producing fruit. That vine is Jesus. And when we stay connected, he says he's going to prune us so we can produce even more fruit. That's where we are. We want to produce everything that Jesus wants us to produce. All right. So we're going to see you on Friday night. If you can't be there in the live audience, make sure that you catch it on the playback. And there's Brandon.
Hey, Slim.
Brandon, you all right? You're all right with me. All right. Go in peace, everybody. We love you. May God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. Hope to see all of you on Friday night, 8 p.m. We'll be back teaching the word of God. Until then, may God bless you and may heaven smile upon you. Bye-bye for now.
Take care. Y'all be blessed. See you Friday.